Well, hi there, it's Andy, your lonely libertarian citizen of Simi Valley, California. Um, I wanted to talk and make some comments about Social Security. A subscriber by the name of Luce Leal feels that Social Security is a great program and it helps our old people and all that kind of good stuff. And I agree with you. I mean, getting free money from the government via our paychecks, the pass-throughs to the government, and then to the people receiving is nice. It's beautiful, but how long can it last? And the question you have to ask is, how does this program work? Well, basically, the way it works is that a tax was made on you as you work, and later on in life, you will collect. Now, the question is, how much tax is taken from you, and what do you actually get to collect? Now, as we went through the baby boom generation, we had a lot more payers into the system than there were collectors. But as that generation aged, we had to raise the retirement age. When it originally started, it was 55 years old. That's when my grandfather was able to retire and collect Social Security, which he did. But as the program needed more funds because there were more retirees, well, they raised the age. And then what they did was they started taxing, should you work, let's say a part-time job because you need the money, they would tax you 1/3. They didn't do that before, but now with, I think it was 1986, or it was 1984, I'll have to look, but when they, and I think Greenspan presided over it, it was when they changed Social Security, up the age and increased the tax. Well, it was only to basically push out into the future the day of reckoning. There will be a day of reckoning when we can no longer afford this system. And it also relies on very interesting projections. I'm certain that they did not project such high unemployment as we have right now. And this will actually lower the day of reckoning when the system does not work anymore. So what can we do as Americans? Well, we can speak up about it. And let me just tell you why I'm speaking up, because I believe I am not going to receive the money, even though I'm guaranteed a lot of money when I retire. I would certainly like to get it, but I don't know what the value of it will be. I've been told what it will be, and it looks like every day it's going to be worth less and less and less. And they aren't increasing the inflation factor in there. In fact, they're not even raising it this year, but our value of our money is dropping this year. So in essence, it's becoming worth less and less to me. So the question is, how does an American escape from that? How do we change the system? What if you were allowed to be bought out of your contract? I mean, you do have a contract with the government to give you something in the future. That's the entitlement. How much would it be to buy out Americans who don't want it and want to take the money and invest it on their own and sign a contract that they'll never ever ask the government for money? I mean, that's one option. To buy down the future retirees, just like a government company buys out retirees in their retirement plan. That's one option. The next thing I'd like to talk about is the fact that this program is not fair. And under the Fourth Amendment, we have equal protection of the law. However, not everybody dies at the same time. Not everybody lives long enough to get their benefit, but you've been contracted to receive a benefit. However, should you die beforehand, you get almost zilch. If you have a survivor, they may get upped in what they contributed to what you put in. So there's some protection for survivors, but all that money you put in basically amounts to nothing. You get a $255 death benefit. That's not even enough to pay for your urn if they cremate you, which is the cheapest way of going about it. So it's really it's really a poor program. Basically, it's a program that allows the government to spend more money because for years there was more money paid into the system that created the so-called trust fund, and we've floated bonds on that trust fund, government bonds, and it's basically brought down the borrowing cost of government. So in a way, there's some benefit from that, but it allowed the government to spend more money than it had. So what are we going to do about it? At what point are Americans going to wake up, stop being apathetic, and really realize that these big programs run by government do not work? So back to the point of that some people don't get it. Well, let's think about how we like to treat the downtrodden among us. And of course, the most downtrodden among us, in my view, are black Americans. Black Americans in general, black men especially, many of them do not see 65, but they pay in their whole lives. So that work and toil of that black American is, if I live to be 90, is going to support this white American. And hey, it's nice to get supported for free, but I certainly don't feel like I deserve their support. They deserve their support. And in my view, the fact that this program builds up and they do pay in, and let's say if it were getting 2%, 3% return, what would it grow to? I mean, in the stock market over time, you could get 7, 8% return, and what could that grow to? Well, I'll speak more on it later, but these are some things to think about. It's not a very fair program for certain people, certain segments of our society, and so in that case, I call it a social insecurity program. And with that, I'm going to just close it out, and I'll leave you with this little tidbit, and I'm sure we'll get cut off, but Diet Coke weighs less than regular Coke. And hence, the reason why they promoted Diet Coke was that the shipping cost of a caseload or truckload of Diet Coke was much less than regular Coke because it weighs 3/10 of an ounce less per can. And it saved them billions of dollars over the years. In fact, probably Diet Coke, the savings and the shipping of Diet Coke was the exact factor in Coca-Cola's profit over all those years. So I'll leave you with that, Diet Coke. Little tidbit there. So that's all for now. I'll give you another social insecurity rant later on. Bye for now.